Be sure to subscribe and click on the bell for notifications on future uploads. Hello everyone, Sombard here, or you can call me Sully. Well, Thanksgiving is upon us, meaning it's time to review something good for the holiday. And, of course, I got something that not that many people talked about. Since this year marks the 70th anniversary of the Peanuts comic strip, it makes sense to go over a Peanuts holiday special. A second Peanuts holiday special, that is, as a Charlie Brown Christmas has 3 other specials, and It's a Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown has none, unless you include these as semi-sequels. And on that note, I'm taking a look at one of their underrated specials that's also a Thanksgiving one. It is also the first episode of their miniseries that aired in October of 1988. This is America, Charlie Brown, the Mayflower Voyagers. The special goes over the history of the first Thanksgiving, or about the Pilgrim's journey from being on the Mayflower to surviving the winter on Plymouth, Massachusetts, and meeting and befriending the natives Samoset, Squanto, and Massasoit, from 1620 to 1621. There's also mentions of the Mayflower Compact, a peace treaty between Pilgrims and natives, and the struggle and hardships of the Pilgrims, as deaths and dangers happen upon them, on land and on sea. And all of this is narrated by Charlie Brown, with the Peanuts gang being the children aboard the Mayflower, observing the events and partaking in various chores and duties to help the Pilgrims. If you see my top 10 list of my top 10 favorite Peanuts specials, I put this special on that list. And I even made mention of it on a video about Thanksgiving specials. And overall, I really enjoyed it, and found everything about it to be delightful, with a few minor flaws that I can overlook. Yeah, it isn't all perfect, but the flaws I noticed are ones I didn't mention, them being the little errors in the animation. For the most part, it is good TV animation for 80s Peanuts, but sometimes I have to wonder, or question, these little errors, such as this still of Squanto that holds on him for a few seconds and the water ripples layered on the ship rocking. The most common of animation errors is of Lucy's feet, either appearing to be black, wearing shoes, or being barefoot. I think she's supposed to wear shoes, but whenever she's barefoot, they darken her feet to make them look like she has shoes. But looking closely, her toes are clearly visible. All the other children, except for Linus and this one kid, are barefoot, so I don't know what the makers are doing with Lucy here. And I was thinking of adding John Howland falling off the ship, as first his shoes and socks are on, and when being brought back on board, his shoes and socks are missing. But I decided to give that a pass, as I can make the assumption that the storm and ocean caused his shoes and socks to get washed off and away. Though him falling into the ocean is a mistake, as his hair and mustache are missing in this wide shot. But where This Is America Charlie Brown is an educational series, I doubt that what the Pilgrims and natives wear and look like don't accurately reflect the time period, and that is for the main players, Captain Miles Standish, Squanto, Samoset, Massasoit, and even John Howland. And I feel the same goes for other specials that take on the first Thanksgiving. But I don't blame the makers for being inaccurate, as they just want to get the basic history down and tell it in a simple manner, even if 1 or 2 liberties were taken. Like say a dog was brought on board the Mayflower, which either could be true, or is just a slightly humorous way to have Snoopy in the special, despite him acting more like a human than a dog. In fact, a group of natives in the special have a dog that acts like a dog, though again it may or may not be true if they own a dog. And then there's the moment of calling the time when Samoset and Squanto offering to help the Pilgrims as a miracle, which almost felt forced the way Charlie Brown says it, both him on screen and him narrating the special. I'd like to say it's more of pure luck than a miracle, even when the said miracle hasn't happened yet, and there's no telling what will happen, even if everyone knows the true outcome before seeing the special. Even calling Massasoit as the Great Indian Chief Massasoit raises some questions, as what makes him great? We don't know much about him or any of the other people in the special aside from Squanto. Regardless, the special's main focus is teaching how the first Thanksgiving came to be, and it does a very good job about it, through Charlie Brown's narration, to the Peanuts characters, and even the Pilgrims and natives. Yet one of the things that makes the special unique is how there's none of those skits that people associate with Peanuts. None of Lucy pouring a football away from Charlie Brown, none of Sally's constant and misunderstood love for Linus, none of Lucy trying to get Schroeder to notice and respect her, none of Charlie Brown having any bad luck, and none of Snoopy's crazy antics. And while their personalities remain the same, all of what the Peanuts gang offer reflect the time period the special is set in, and the funny moments that occur with them are good and sometimes funny. Not laugh out loud per se, but very chuckle and giggle worthy, such as Woodstock trying to retrieve water and Marcy fooling Peppermint Patty into seeing a snake while gathering sticks. But the biggest and greatest part of the entire special is the music composed by Ed Bogus. It's all around wonderful and delightful. It really isn't like the jazz music that Vince Guaraldi did for the earlier specials, as the music here felt more baroque and romantic with more wind instruments like flutes and oboes, and also a harpsichord. And there's different themes and tunes going on, ranging from light-hearted and cute to calming and sad. All of the instruments and sounds from them are very soothing, relaxing, and kind of inspirational. It's such a joy to listen to that warms me up inside. And if there's an isolated music version or soundtrack of this music, I'd listen to it as much as the Charlie Brown Christmas soundtrack. But if not, I'd like to see someone create one. Now, since the voice cast in all the Peanut specials are children, with the exception of Bill Melendez voicing Snoopy and Woodstock, the only two known voice actors that are in this special are Frank Welker voicing Squanto and Greg Berger voicing Miles Standish. And all of the actors voicing their characters did a very good job. As a whole, this special is pretty engaging and charming. The characters are good, the story is nicely handled, and the animation is alright. Despite some animation and continuity errors from time to time, I can overlook those bits as they aren't too harmful. As for everything else that goes on, they are pretty delightful, with a history lesson that's pretty good and not boring, none of the classic Peanut skits, and music that is simply one of the best for Peanuts for being very relaxing and heartwarming. And for director Everett Brown, this is an underrated Peanut special that really needs more attention and, to be honest, is a better Peanuts Thanksgiving special than a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving, at least to me. And though that one has its moments and they're still good, this one overall has a more lighthearted feel and doesn't need any of those mean or self-centered moments that the Peanuts kids often have, especially around Charlie Brown. It's one of my favorite Peanut specials, and above all, it's my favorite Thanksgiving special. So today, this special will be getting a rating of 3.5 stars. So thank you for joining me. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Facebook or Twitter, support me on Patreon, and until next time for a new video, and have a happy Thanksgiving.